StraightSmile Solutions, StraightSmileSolutions.com, and today we're going to talk a little bit more about Invisalign with MA. MA stands for Mandibular Advancement, and it's something that we've been using in not this exact product, but a derivation of this product in orthodontics for, I don't know, a century, like a really long time at least. So it's nothing new for orthodontists. It's kind of new in that it's married to an aligner. So let me explain a little bit more about how this appliance works and what you can use it for, the risks, the benefits, the alternatives. And I'll be doing this week a lot of videos on various appliances to help advance jaws. I have a lot of other content on this topic already, so any type of keyword that you want to look up at, like if you want to look at my other videos on Invisalign with MA, you could just go to my homepage, which is on my YouTube channel, not your YouTube channel. So go to your YouTube channel, put it in the search bar, StraightSmile Solutions. It'll take you to my YouTube channel, which has a green banner. Scroll down and find the Invisalign playlist on the homepage. Within there, you've got everything you need to know about Invisalign, and guess what? It's free. Yay. So remember, I put this out here just to be helpful. If you like it, I appreciate the comments. I appreciate the likes and the shares. That helps me grow my brand. So I really appreciate it when you do this. And if you ever need help with a case, you're welcome to reach out to us. We do help with cases, clean checks, optimization. It's not just Invisalign, braces, phase 1 appliances, airway, obviously growth modification. You can reach us at StraightSmile Solutions, and we help with cases. Anyways, so let's talk about Invisalign with MA. Remember, unlike other content that might be out here on this topic, I am not at all employed by Align Technology. Invisalign, never have been, never will be, so I can speak freely about it. I'll tell you, what I tell you is the honest truth. And the beauty of what I do is that I am an orthodontist, but I also work with other dentists and orthodontists as part of my consultancy group. So I have a really cool bird's eye view of that's even greater, than any single orthodontist can have, because I see so many cases per week. So I really feel very comfortable with a lot of products. And I feel like I can explain things really well. So first of all, I would not do Invisalign with MA until you have done some Invisalign cases, because it's a little bit trickier. And I feel like there's a lot more variables, so you might get confused. So do a few regular Invisalign cases first so you can get the hang of how Invisalign works. And then you can do an Invisalign with MA case. Now, you should watch all my other videos on various other appliances that work similarly, like twin blocks or bionators are probably my top two, but there's all the other ones, Frankels, Herps, activators, things like that. But for simplicity's sake, I keep to appliances that I think are easier to use. So Invisalign with MA comes in two different products, okay? So depending on what country you're from, there's different menus of options that you can purchase from Invisalign. Everyone has Invisalign Comprehensive. That's available in every country. And you can get Invisalign with MA with Invisalign Comprehensive. I don't know if you can get it in every country. Now, for example, in the US, it's there. Whether you're a general dentist or an orthodontist, in Canada, it's there. Whether you're a general dentist or an orthodontist, whenever you submit a comprehensive case, it'll pop up as an option that you can pick that. It's on the page where, and I have other videos that show you exactly how to do this if you're submitting a case, but it's on the page where they talk about anterior posterior changes. And anterior posterior changes mean jaw, your jaw being forward, your jaw being back, your lower jaw, e.g. a class 3 or a class 2 kind of bite. So they're going to ask you, how do you want to fix the anterior posterior discrepancy? What are your options? Elastics, IPR, sequential distalization, or Invisalign with MA is another option, or leave it, right? So those are generally your options. Invisalign with MA is only going to work if the patient is growing. The patient is done growing, not gonna work. So first of all, you need to pick the right patient. It is not Invisalign's job to know if your patient is still growing. They don't know. Now, this is a whole nother story I could talk for an hour about. So if you wanna know about is your patient still growing, you can either ask the questions, and I have videos on all that. I'm not gonna get into that today. All the puberty questions, all that kind of stuff. Or you can get growth charts from the pediatrician. Pediatrician will send them to you. I mean, to me, that seems a little lazy. You might just ask the questions. If you're not comfortable asking the questions, have a team member ask the questions. It's obviously a little more comfortable with a male than it is with a female because there's nothing inherently embarrassing about asking about shaving or feet growing or voice changing. I mean, you can kind of tell by looking at the male. Adam's apples, I mean, there's so much. I can look at a boy and tell you if they're still growing. I can tell you if they're almost done growing. I may not know if they're still growing, so I'm going to ask a few questions, but there's nothing embarrassing. Girls, it's a little more sensitive, and a lot of times, even if you have it on the medical history, first of all, parents may not know, because they don't always know, trust me. And they may not, they're thinking, well, this is a dentist. Why does it matter if my patient has had, if my child has had this and this already, milestone in their life? So they may not even answer truthfully, even if they know. So you have to explain the why behind that a little bit more to the patient and parent. Have a team member do it if you're embarrassed. But it's not a big deal, it's part of being a healthcare provider. You need to know these things. Okay, so patient has to still be growing or it's not gonna work, so don't bother. So find that out first. Then we're looking for patients that need mandibular growth. How do you know? Well, you're not gonna know unless you take a Ceph, okay? And you need to interpret the Ceph, which means you need to run the Ceph through the numbers and get the norms and get the standard deviations. That is how you do it. I mean, clearly I can look at a patient's face and tell you if they need to grow a jaw. But if you're gonna grow a jaw, you really need to take that Ceph as a baseline. That's standard of care. Does everyone do it? No. Should you do it? Yes, if you are growing a jaw, because that's baseline. If something went wrong, they'd be asking to see if you took the Ceph. Plus you need to know for sure. But I've got an entire playlist on Cephs, how to get Cephs if you don't have a Ceph, how to interpret Ceph, blah, blah, blah. Okay, you don't have to know how to do that. You can send out for most of that. You can outsource for all that. It's not a big deal. And if you would like help on that, or if you'd like help on learning to read a hand-wrist radiograph, we have a really good monograph on that. It's available at our document store at StraightSmile Solutions. Okay, back to the Invisalign with MA. So Invisalign with MA basically takes a page out of how a bionator or a twin block works, where you're setting the mandible forward 24 hours a day, okay? Not 12 hours a day, not 14 hours a day, not just at night. It has to be sitting forward 24 hours a day. And the pressure of sitting it forward encourages the lower jaw to grow. Now you're gonna have to do this for about at least a year, 9 months to 14 months, somewhere in there. It's a long time. This is a marathon, not a sprint. And if they don't wear it 24 hours a day, it's not gonna work, okay? So it's not a nighttime only solution. There is no nighttime only solution, in my opinion, that really, really, really works. Now there's a few products out there, but they don't work like this. They don't work as well, and they're not as effective, and they're not as predictable. So the reason why I like this appliance is that it's very comfortable. From the front, it only looks like an Invisalign, so you get a lot of compliance. I have zero problems getting patients to wear these type of things. I've never had a problem, nor have I really had, obviously you got to pick a good patient and parent, There's got to be, can't be weird stuff going on at home. You got to have good communication. It's all about picking the right family who seems to understand. If the kid's coming in with greasy hair, torn clothes, dirty clothes, has poor grades, they're not going to be a good choice because they don't care about anything, okay? So you have to find the right patient and parent who wants this. Teenagers, a few of them are going to be not great. They're going through things. So you have to pick the right ones, right? So I can't tell you how to identify the right patient, but from my experience, the younger the patient is, and that's why I really like the Invisalign with MA, because you can start this as young as 5 or 6 if you want to. They're incredibly compliant. If you do this on a 15-year-old, they may not be compliant, but a 15-year-old is probably not growing either. Maybe a male might be. So that's why this is meant to be done at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, maybe even 12. By 13, we're probably getting on too old for girls. And by 15, we're probably getting too old for boys. But again, you have to ask the questions. So basically it's an Invisalign with a little ramp that comes here. And this patient, for example, probably had like a 8mm overjet. So this ramp slides the lower Invisalign forward so that the lower jaw is sitting in an anterior position, for a long time while you're straightening your teeth, while you're leveling the arches and doing other things at the same time. So we're doing everything all at one time. We're growing a jaw, we're straightening the teeth, right? So that's basically it. The only thing that can happen that I've seen that you just have to know about is a lot of times you will get a posterior open bite in this area. It's just because of these wings. But I've never seen an MA case where you didn't have to do a major refinement. I know they make it look like it's going to make everything perfect, but I think the algorithm's just not there yet. So I think you go into it. Usually MA is somewhere between 30 and 40 aligners. That's first run, okay? And then once you're done with that part of it, you either do a refinement and do a little bit more, or you just do a refinement just to settle the bite and fine tune it, and you're done. You've already grown the jaw. So all in all, how long will it take? About a year to 2 years. But it's no different than braces. That's going to take a year to 2 years too, right? And you don't have to wear necessarily elastics. I'm not promising you there's not going to be elastics. You might need to use them on the refinement, sometimes just to fine tune things or just to balance things out a little bit, or if we didn't quite get there, that'll help at the end. But the majority of the growth will happen from the MA, and it works really well. I've seen tons of cases completed, and people were really blown away at the incredible improvement. Now, remember, Invisalign with MA is available in the comprehensive product. Comprehensive is normally done in slightly older kids, but you get 5 years to finish that case. In most countries, you could also do it with the Invisalign First product, but not all countries have Invisalign First. Now, my preference is to do the MA Invisalign First. Now, Invisalign First is a phase 1 product. All it's doing is straightening the front teeth and fixing the bite. That's all you're doing. There's still 12 more teeth that need to come in. It's not going to straighten those teeth. Invisalign First is just for front teeth and bite. That's it. It's interceptive. But I like getting the hard movements out of the way in the really, really young patients, the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9s. It's just so much easier. And then you put them in some type of retention. Obviously, it's not going to be plain old Invisalign, and Invisalign does not have a good phase 1 retainer product yet. I don't know why they do not. It's not that hard, but it doesn't exist. So Viveras are only a comprehensive product. You cannot wear Viveras for phase 1 retention. Now, I have a couple other options for phase 1 retention. You can go to my website. You can go to my YouTube. And scroll down on the homepage to the retention section and check out phase 1 retention. There's a few options that are out there that work, but you do need some type of retention afterwards to maintain it. And I'll go over what the options are. But yeah, I think you'll really, really like MA. I highly recommend it. Love it. All right, thanks.